Hello, sweet soul sisters and brothers. I am coming to you today, Mindy, a day early. Usually I do my Facebook Lives at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays, but this week I am participating in a live virtual event with my own tribe, my coaching team. And I am so excited about it that I just wanted to come to you live today, a day early, and really just come to you today to share a little bit about the first and the third chakra. I've been really contemplating this because, I have these amazing conversations with gorgeous, amazing women every week. And I'm seeing patterns as I really am talking with these women. I'm seeing these vast patterns that are emerging where we are limiting ourselves because of the challenges that we face, because of the beliefs that we have. I love this quote. One of my friends, Sand Mew, she's down in Australia. She says, your blocks aren't in the way, they are the way. What would change for you if you actually started to see that your blocks, whether they're emotional, mental, physical, experiential, what if those blocks weren't the things that were getting in the way, but they were actually the way? They were teaching you exactly what you needed in order to either overcome it or to really build the muscles that you need to be the person you're supposed to be. That's the gift in our blocks, is that they really are there for us to learn from. And over the weekend, I had a great conversation with someone, and she was, sharing with me how she feels like society has really put in her mind that her generation was the first to not be as good, or not to have as good of a life as their parents. And how shitty is that, to have that as your primary or a primary working belief? That, and this is true for a lot of people, that this is some of the stuff that we hear from our politicians, is that, well, you're not going to have as good of a life as your parents because of X, Y, and Z. And they always put it on these external circumstances. But you know what? Our ancestors, which is another place where our patterns and our conditioning come from, they had a lot to deal with. It may seem like their life was super simple because life was simpler back then, but it was really fucking hard as well. Like my own personal ancestors, they left Europe in search of freedom. They came to America, and every time a new territory opened, they were some of the first people to journey to that territory and discover what was there and try to make a better life for themselves and their families. I mean, can you put yourself in those shoes? 300 years ago, 400 years ago, 200, 100 years ago, and really just recognize what they had to do. Our ancestors, my ancestors specifically, went to the prairie and lived in fucking sod houses, right? Like there was no wood. They didn't even know how to build a home besides digging up dirt and grass. And they burned buffalo dung to heat their home. Like, those are some really tough things to deal with. And what we forget when we are looking at our ancestors is that they were living this. And yes, they created some ridiculous patterns that aren't really applicable to today's world. Like women didn't value themselves as much as others. We had to build really strong resilience muscles, and we did value hard fucking work, right? Because that was the only way to get through. And you had to muscle through it physically, emotionally, energetically. You just had to motor through any obstacle that arose. And that has created some really interesting patterns that we're confronting right now. My ancestors were always looking for a better life. And I think all of us can relate to that. And they always did it by farming, which is not easy, right? Like back in the day, even today, farming is not an easy profession. And they always wanted the next best thing, but that wasn't easy. And just because they took a very difficult route does not mean that I have to continue to take the most difficult route that I can. And if you really look at your ancestors patterns, you can have some compassion for them. You can have some understanding, and you say, wow, okay, the benefit of this ancestral pattern is that it created some really good grit. I can get through anything. And honestly, everyone can get through anything because we all have. Everything that's happened to us in our entire life, we've all had it. We've all gotten through it, okay? So that's like the first chakra, is recognizing where our patterns come from and seeing what we built our lives upon. Our parents instilled patterns in us. Women didn't value themselves. And still today, I think most women don't value themselves as fully as they can because our mothers didn't value themselves as fully as they could. And their mothers, our grandmothers, did not know how to value themselves as well. And part of that is societal, and part of that is just women. We don't do this really very well. It goes against the grain of what women have known themselves to be for millennia. And, there are women who have valued themselves, who did open up to the possibilities in themselves. And yep, sometimes they were called awful people, bitches, that they were just trying to get ahead. And those are all conditioned beliefs. Those are all first chakra beliefs. These are all things that we're building our life upon. And it's not necessary for us to keep doing that. So then the third chakra comes into play by going, all right, if I can see clearly the patterns that I have held as true, whether they were given to me, I've taken them on in my life, wherever these patterns came from, it is time for me to recognize that I've owned them for a really long time. And it is my job, no one else's, to get rid of these if they're not serving me, right? Like, this is the power of the third chakra, is that you can really own your worth and you can illuminate the shadow parts, the parts that have been holding you back. But it takes courage. It takes a willingness to shine a light on the things that have been holding you back, the things that have kept you in your comfort zone. So the third chakra gives us the ability, the courage, the strength, the capacity, the know-how, the willingness to look at these patterns and to go, okay, that one, I see the gifts and I see the drawbacks. The cool thing is that when you figure out your pattern work, the gifts don't go away, but the negative stuff does when you get rid of them, when you can clear the beliefs around these patterns. So like for me, one of the patterns is like, bloody penny, is I got to work my ass off just to make it, just to barely get by. And as you can see through this story that I've shared with my ancestors, that makes sense, right? Like they were just always working just to barely struggle by. But that doesn't serve me anymore. What if I do take a more aligned route? What if I take something that's more in the flow, like the second chakra? What if I stop forcing myself to work or believing that it'll only work if I work my ass off? What if you give yourself permission to start thinking new things? Eek! That means that you love yourself, which is a little bit of the heart chakra. And then you've got some clarity, which is really the throat chakra. You're getting really creative from the sixth chakra, and you've got full faith from the crown chakra. Like, it's just freaking amazing when you actually start looking at this stuff that you can overcome. You can overcome anything that you want to, because you are free to believe anything you want to believe. And you can continue to hold yourself back. You can continue to believe in society and politics and all the things, and you can continue to really be polarized, but that's not your destiny. Your destiny is way freaking more than that. Your destiny is to harmonize, to bring in your fullness, to have the feminine and the masculine come together, to not just focus on one or the other, but to balance them and harmonize them both. Okay? There's another really cool quote that I wanted to share with you. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. That's Carl Jung, right? So how do we use these two chakras to move forward? You move forward with the first chakra by getting really present. You see, oh, wow, that's my past, utterly my past. Hey, naked girl, you can't come over here. My daughter just took a shower and she's wrapped in a towel. Get in the present. Notice, am I living out of my past? Am I blaming other people? Am I blaming circumstances? Life is not determined by the externals, just determined by the internals. Okay. And then for the third chakra, the way that you get beyond all your junk is by really opening up to your light. Shine a light upon what you're seeing from this present moment. Just because it's been that way in the past doesn't mean it has to continue to be that way right now or in the future. So shine a light, illuminate with love these patterns that aren't supporting you anymore. No. Get over them. They're holding you back. They're keeping you from being your most amazing self. You're amazing. And you're so worthy. So worthy of being amazing, of being abundant, of being wealthy, of being joyful, of being whatever you want to be. Right? Love who you are every single moment of every single day and wake up from the inside. See what's really holding you back. Because that's that foundation. That's the weight of the earth chakra holding you back. You don't need that stuff anymore. It is your duty right now to challenge these old beliefs of your own that you've been taking on as your own, whether they come from society or they come from your family lineage, they come from your parents, from your siblings, from a really shit experience in your life that shouldn't have happened but did. Shine a light on it. Have a little bit of loving courage and notice what gift it has given you and be honest with yourself. How has it held you back from living your fullest life? And when you figure those things out, you really can launch your life forward. And that's exciting. That's really exciting stuff. And sometimes it helps to have a guide alongside you with helping this out, seeing more clearly, because a person on the outside can see differently than the person who's right there in the midst of all of it. So having a little perspective and having a little bit of loving accountability. So if you are interested in that, I'm here for you. I offer 45-minute free phone conversations. You can always come and check in with me. Just schedule it on my website. It's just mindyarbuckle.com/talk. And I really do want the best for you. And if this is the way we interact forever, I'm so blessed and grateful. And if you do want some more support, I feel blessed and grateful. So let me know if I can be of support. And really, if this makes sense, like it, share it, send it to a friend, and tag it, comment on what you learned today about the first or the third chakra. Comment on maybe some of the patterns that you're starting to see in your comfort zone that aren't feeling very comfortable anymore. And I look forward to chatting with you on Friday. I'm not going to be here tomorrow again. I'll be back on Friday to chat with you. And if you have any requests for Friday's talk, please feel free to let me know. I'm always open to ideas and suggestions. All right, my dears, I love you. We'll talk soon. Bye.